I'm super excited about the next guest making her way into the candy shop. Her music is definitely no stranger in the building. We love everything that comes from this artist, and I'm so excited to welcome Miss Anita Wilson to the candy shop. How you doing, Queen?
Hey, I am wonderful. How are you doing today?
I'm exceptionally well and super excited. First things first, I just want to thank you in advance for an amazing conversation today.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. I'm happy to be talking with you today. I appreciate you.
Definitely. There's so much that we have to discuss. Vintage Worship is out here for the world, and I just want to thank you for Vintage Worship and Worship Soul because it has blessed me tremendously. How long have you been in this music thing? Because your story is very, very interesting, and we're definitely going to get into it. But how long have you been in the music industry altogether?
Altogether, I would say probably close to 15 years, actually. I sang with Donald Lawrence and Company for 10 years, and a little bit before then I did some local projects here in Chicago. But then I did a project with Vashawn Mitchell, which is where Donald Lawrence heard me, and that was in 2004. And from 2004 to about 2013, I was singing with Donald, just under 10 years. And my solo career started when I recorded my first project, Worship Soul, in 2010.
Now, there's an amazing piece to your story because it's a story of obedience and you being able to step out on your own from being in the background to the forefront. With these two projects already out, what have you learned about yourself from when you were singing with Donald Lawrence to now that you're the headliner?
Come on, headliner. I don't know if I'm headlining, but I'll take it. But there are times, where it's different. You're used to being in the background and supporting someone else's ministry, and you see their names on the flyer, and then it went to the season where I saw my own name on the flyer, my own photo, and that within itself just changes a lot. But I think that I call it humble confidence because I think that when God has equipped you for something, you can move forward just humbly and confidently. What's different about me is I learned a lot about the businesswoman that was inside of me and the leader that was inside of me. I think that it's important to be able to follow because if you can't be a good follower, you don't really know the essence of a good leader, I think. So I'm so grateful for the years that I was able to sit under Donald just teaching and the wisdom, and I'm grateful to God for bringing me into a season where I can implement so much that I learned, and it kind of comes out very, very naturally. So, I learned some stuff that I didn't know I was learning, in 2004 or 2008 or 2010 or whatever the case may have been. So I'm honored to be able to implement so much of what I learned. But it's a bit of a long list, but, if I were able to say one quick thing real quick, it would definitely be that I learned the leader inside of me and the businesswoman inside of me and just the student. I think it's important to always be a student and learn and be humble enough to be taught and wise enough to implement it on your own journey. So that's what I really appreciate about this whole experience.
That is definitely what's up. One thing that is very true about your music is it's true to its purpose. If it's a worship song, you have no other choice but to lift your hands and worship. If it's praise, you have no choice but to dance. You Love Me is out in the streets going crazy. How has the response been? And have you received any negative feedback in regards to it being so soulful and so contemporary?
I'm really happy that people are connecting to You Love Me. It was the whole project was so much fun. I think that You Love Me embodies the essence of the whole project because it's old soul, but it's very current, but it's very old school, but it's very modern and new school at the same time. So I was happy. I appreciate all music. To answer the latter part of your question, I haven't received any bad feedback, which I'm grateful for. I know everybody won't like everything, but I haven't received any bad feedback. I'm really grateful that people are connecting to it and groove into it, and we're all able to celebrate that message that we have in common, which is that God loves us, and we experience that from the moment we wake up to the moment we go back to sleep and everything in between. You know, God is always God, and He's looking out for us. So I love the lane that God has allowed me to be in, which is, I think, it's very authentic, it's very natural, and it embodies all of my influences, which is churchy, it's soul, it's fun, it's worship, it's praise, it's all of that. And I'm just grateful that He allowed my producer and I to craft this sound where it doesn't sound like it's too much going on, but it kind of smoothly marries all of that together. And what means most is that people receive from it, and that, you know, I don't want it to be so groovy that you can't feel God and that you can't be led to an uplifted place or into the presence of God. You know, I want it to be able to reach those people that go to church all the time and the people that may never go to church, or they go once a year, or whatever the case may be. I want the music to reach everybody and be able to kind of bring everybody to that uplifted space, whether you call it the presence of God, whether you're not so churchy, so you just call it, I feel good, I feel inspired right now. That's what I want my music to do. So I'm happy that people are digging. You love me. That means a whole lot.
Definitely. If you guys are just tuning in, Miss Anita Wilson is here in the Candy Shop. Tell a friend to log in 818-572-2935, or hit us up online at blogtalkradio.com/touchaneighbor. Now, one thing you mentioned was you learned about the businesswoman inside of you. And this industry, a lot of people forget, even though it's gospel music, it is still the music industry. How do you stay saved in this industry?
That's not hard for me to do at all, and I'm grateful for that. That may be a challenge for some people, but when you say stay saved, for me, there's nothing that I'm going to be involved in that shakes my salvation and shakes, you know, I know that we all deal with. It's definitely a challenging industry, and it can be a discouraging industry, and you can have a whole lot of questions. For an artist like me, it's a lot of questions about where exactly do you fit in this industry, and you know, some things that you see aren't too cool. But at the same time, I think the key for me is staying focused and staying grounded and staying humble, and keeping my eyes on the reason that I started. You know, it was a little post going around social media a couple of years ago, and I still see it every now and then, but it simply said, remember why you started. And that's something that you have to keep in perspective all of the time, because when I first started, and still to this day, I remember the story that I would tell about when God told me that, you know, when I finally said yes about even doing a solo project, and I was like, God, I'm good. I don't need to sell 1 million records. I don't need to, you know, do all that, try to make people like me and try to be found. I ain't trying to do that, God. I'm good on background. And God said, okay, if you don't sell millions of records, you don't want to sell any records? You don't.
Right.
You just want 1 million. You don't want nothing else. And he said, what if I want you to go to that little bitty church and sell, you know, little 5 CDs? That's not good enough for you. So I always remember why I started, and I remember that conversation with God. And it's easy to get caught up in numbers and charts and, you know, sales and people liking you and how many people know who you are and all that. It's very easy to get caught up in that. But I think that all of that is important, but it's not most important. And you just have to have it balanced with true purpose and staying focused on why you do what you do. And for me, I do it for God. I do it for God's light to shine through me, and I do it for other people to be blessed, and I do it for the love of music. So I do it for all of those, you know, my love for God, my love for music, my love for people. So in that regard, it's that's why I say emphatically, it's not hard for me to stay saved. It's hard to stay you know, focus sometimes, but you always have to bring yourself back to the middle. And that's not saying every day is easy, but there are definitely some difficult times and, you know, some tears or some disappointment at times. But for the most part, hey, I got to stay focused, and that helps me to stay in the right mind frame.
Definitely. You're helping me. One thing about your music, from past interviews, your visuals, you seem so approachable. You seem like you're just giving Anita Wilson in absolutely everything you do. One of the major things that you definitely remain focused in and on fleek is your fashion. Your image is absolutely amazing. What is it? Is there a secret? Do you try to keep it all together? Do you stay focused on your fashion, or is it just in use to stay fly?
To stay fly. Oh my goodness, thank you. I appreciate that. I think that it is natural, and maybe in your words, humbly speaking, maybe it's just in me to stay fly. Thank you for saying it like that. But honestly, seriously, it does. It is important to me. I think how I present myself is very important. I grew up, I've been a Baptist pastor's daughter all of my life, and my parents always looked good. You know, I grew up seeing that, and I admire that. My mama, who's in heaven now, I lost her about 2 months ago, but let me tell you, she showed us how it was done, and she always looked wonderful. So I think it's important. It's just a natural space for me to be very presentable, and I always attempt to do that. So I realize and I appreciate the fact that God has allowed me for the past several years to be in different places and different platforms. And I think it's important to, first of all, represent God in excellence and look as good as you're able to look, you know, whatever size you are, whatever it is that is you, in the essence of you. I think it's important to present yourself well for God, represent yourself well, represent your business well. You can't go in a business meeting looking crazy. I shouldn't go in church looking crazy. So it is a very natural space for me to make sure I step out right. So thank you. I appreciate that.
Definitely. One thing about what you do in this ministry, you're equivalent to a pastor. The people are looking to you for ministry. They're looking to you for a word. Is that pressure to you, knowing that you have to be in this space almost 24/7 now that people are looking for you for some people as their connection to God?
Well, that is a level of pressure. It is a level of responsibility. For me, I choose to embrace the word responsibility as opposed to pressure, because it can be pressure if you allow it to. I think that is very humbling, first of all. I don't know if I've ever heard it phrased quite like that. So that's very humbling that you would say some people look to me. It can be equivalent as a pastor in their connection to God. So that's humbling, and that I look at that as a responsibility, and I will never abuse that responsibility, you know, because it doesn't just happen. I have to be in an aligned place with God for him to even use me or work through me to bless other people. So it puts a mandate on you to live your life a certain way in front of people and behind closed doors. And make sure that you're able to be used. And God can use anybody. He uses people all jacked up all the time. He always has. But at the same time, if we're serious about being better, it puts a mandate on us to live our best life and really be open to ministry, whatever form that may come in. And whether it may be on a microphone, it may be singing a song, it may be in the airport or the grocery store or at dinner with your family, and someone sees you, and it depends on how nice or not nice you may be to that person. So you never know when you come in contact with people just how your demeanor can be, or if it's actually on a mic ministering. So I think it's always important to stay mindful of others and the place that God has me in as others look to me. At the same time, I always say balance is everything. So while God has me in this space, and many artists in this space and whatnot, it doesn't mean that we are perfect people and that we never mess up and that we never do or say the wrong things or have stanky attitudes or have a bad day or have personal emotions because, you know, we're not robots. So it may be a time that you see that Anita didn't look as pleasant as normal, or that so-and-so kind of act like she didn't want to say hello this one time. I think that at the same time, there's some slack needs to be cut, because even though it's in a certain position, everybody's human and no one is perfect. So we all have those ups and downs. But that's why I say I don't allow it to be pressure, because there are people that are in this limelight, and it turns to pressure, and it just negatively affects the whole life. And I'm not going to let that happen to myself. If the Lord lets me keep balance of it, I'm going to be intentional about that. But I do appreciate the responsibility, and it's very humbling, and I'll always take it very seriously.
Anita Wilson is here in the Candy Shop. Definitely hit us up online, blogtalkradio.com/touchingneighbor, or listen to the show on the go wherever you are by simply calling 818-572-2935 to stay plugged in. Grammy Stellar Dove Award nominated. How does it feel for you? I know you're doing it for Jesus. I know you're doing it for the masses. I know you're doing it for your purpose, and you're doing it because you're obedient. But how does it feel when you're recognized by your peers and by the academies, and they look at you and they acknowledge what you're doing in this industry?
It's incredibly rewarding. It's incredibly rewarding, and it makes me happy, and it feels good. It feels good because you do work very hard on the music, and I'm very serious about every piece of what I present. I don't believe in album fillers. Like we got some good songs. Let's just put some little regular songs on there so we could make up an album. Like I've never been like that. I never will. I put my heart into every song and every piece of the song. I fuss with my MD, my producer. That line sounds funny. We're just fussing and arguing like, no, so we mull over every bit of the lyric and every bit of the music because I wanted to be something that'll really reach people. So it means a lot when ultimately all of that hard work and the ups and downs and the ins and outs and the money spent and kind of doing it on your own and wanting to create awareness, it's really a challenging road. So when the accolades come and the recognition comes, it's very fulfilling and it's very rewarding. It really does mean so much just to be nominated because there are hundreds and hundreds of people who could have been in those categories. So for it to be dwindled down to, 4 or 5 people and to be one of them, oh gosh, that's very rewarding. Because I didn't even think I was ever going to be a solo artist. So to get to the point where I've done it and I'm able to be nominated by peers, that means a lot because peers judge you harder than normal people would judge you. So I'm always honored and very grateful. Yeah.
That is definitely what's up. Your marketing is always on fleek on your social media. Everything is just really up to par.
Thank you.
Yes, they label it urban contemporary music, urban contemporary gospel. How would you describe your sound and your style?
I know that because those are the categories that are in music, that's basically where it fits, urban, contemporary, I call my sound what the names of these albums thus far. I think that my sound will always be worship soul, and that is the foundation that my sound was built on. That was like its birth, so that's what it always will be. And then we dug a little deeper into the vibe to give an old school vibe, with vintage worship, a bit of an old school vibe with vintage worship, hence the name Vintage. But all of my music, it's always going to be a marriage of soul music and church music. That's what it's always going to be a derivative of. I'm looking forward. We're writing for the next album now, and just because that's the natural sound that comes out, if I sing Amazing Grace or if I sing anything, it's going to be some churchy on it, and it's going to be a little soul, a little chill on it. It just naturally happens. So yeah, that is honestly what I would call my music, worship soul, and we definitely are hearing life music and inspirational music, and it could have all those tags on it definitely, but that is the sound. If you're talking about genres and sounds, those are the sounds that will always be merged into my music. So worship soul, basically.
That is definitely what's up. Miss Anita Wilson is here in the Candy Shop.
You.
Thousands of followers, constantly booked, show after show. You're all over the place. Now that you're in this position and things are going the way they're going, how do you find time to relax? What do you do to just take a moment to yourself and just have some Anita time?
I sometimes my schedule is much more busy than others. So it's hard during those times, but for the most part, if it's like with busy weekends or whatever the case may be, whenever those off days come, I just try to maximize them. For the most part, I allow myself to be a bum at home and just kind of recharge and rest. I'm a homebody anyway, so I just enjoy just being at home, probably because I rip and run so much. So I just allow myself just to be at home and just kind of chill. I have a small circle of friends in several cities, actually. So depending on where I am or where we all end up being, I love going out for dinner and just kind of hanging out with my friends and people that I can just be me with and just kind of chill. I said I was going to challenge myself and get some new hobbies and do some new things and get out more, because I'm definitely a homebody, but I definitely love hanging out with my family and my close friends and just being able to chill, watch TV at home or listen to music or go get some dinner and just kind of hang out is mostly what I do. I love to go get massages when I can just kind of give me some me time and, the mani-pedi days and all of that.
Right.
Been getting into the gym more because, want to look at that as just me time where I'm able to just breathe and just be, So just try to implement those things throughout my days and weeks so I can just press pause on everything and just be with me,
Right, totally. I definitely won't keep you much longer. I definitely appreciate you for hanging out with us here in the Candy Shop. The visual for You Love Me is out. Of course, Vintage Worship and Worship Soul is available everywhere, so definitely make sure people go pick it up. What do you have to say to that young person who's looking at you on Instagram and Twitter and they hear your song on the radio, but they don't know everything that comes along with this industry? What would you say to that person who is aspiring to be where you are?
Well, I would say always be authentically you. Don't see what other people are doing and think that you have to fit into that, first of all. So definitely be you and don't conform to what you're saying. Stay humble. Stay true to your journey. Don't rush it. If doors have not opened yet, don't try to force them open because they could be closed very easily that way. But just kind of let it happen. And until your time comes, continue to cultivate your gift and cultivate your craft and be absolutely as best you can be, and always find someone to look up to, whether that's someone that you know and can call on the phone or someone you just follow on the internet or social media or something, and spot their moves and continue to be inspired. But just take your time through the journey and know that it's not a completely easy journey, but it definitely is worth it if you're being true to who you are and being true to your gift and your craft. And trust God. Definitely lean on your relationship with God and allow him to give you the peace, the patience, the wisdom, the creativity to move forward and be noticed when it's time for you to be noticed.
Definitely. You're here. You're doing it. You're making it look so very easy. Are there any regrets? No, I wouldn't say that. Yeah. There's definitely been some times and some relationships and some things that weren't very favorable to me. So, you have a little sour taste from certain experiences, but I wouldn't call it regrets. I would just look at it as lessons and lessons learned, and now I know what not to do. And I've met many people that are very genuine and are always genuine and want what's best for me. And I've met some people that haven't been so genuine. So that's life, So I think you just have to file those people where they are and file those experiences under just that, experiences and lessons to move forward the next time you get a chance to be encountered with anything of the sort. So yeah. Definitely. I appreciate you for blessing the Candy Shop today. Before you get out of there, definitely let the people know what they should be on the lookout for and definitely how they can stay plugged into absolutely everything Anita Wilson. Okay. All right. Well, I'm excited about 2016. I'll be doing some more traveling the rest of this year, but I'm excited about 2016 because we'll be doing some live shows in different venues. So we'll be kind of adding a different flavor to the live performances that I do. The first of which is actually in Oakland, California, Tuesday, January 19th at Yoshi's. So if you guys are in that area, go to yoshis.com. The tickets are available now. And look out for the rest of the live events that we'll be doing next year. It's going to be lots of fun and something real different to experience. So you guys hit me on social media. It's Miss Anita Wilson. .com, actually, that's my website, msanitawilson.com, and Miss Anita Wilson on Twitter and Instagram.
and there's a page under Anita Wilson that you can like on Facebook. And definitely check out the new video for You Love Me. I hope you guys will like it. It's on Vivo and YouTube and the website and all that good stuff. So check it out. I hope you guys dig it.
That is definitely what's up. Well, I just want to thank you once again for stopping by the Candy Shop Queen.
Thank you. Thank you. I've thoroughly enjoyed our conversation. Thank you so much for supporting me. It means a lot. Thank you so much.